Welcome back, Friday edition, weekend edition, TTS Daily with me, Yi Yi. Hopefully another super-sized edition. If I calculate correctly, another long-form video, 20 minutes size episode. Hopefully, if not at least 18 minutes, I believe. So, we have 5 stories today. The 5 being, story number 1, have you seen the Shanghai Masters tennis lady? If not, at least catch our first story. Followed by a pickleball ban in a certain academy in Singapore, but for noise, but tennis seems to be okay. And then followed by a story about a young toddler that drank hot soup with a straw and that caused him to be sent to the ICU. But don't worry, he's safe now. The fourth story is locally in Singapore where an ex-SAF man actually stole over 1.7 million USDT from a cryptocurrency wallet. And we even explained to you something about seed phrase, what is a cold wallet. Well, not exactly explained, but you see it. And then the last story of the day is a very tragic story about 11-year-old Goh Yong, Singaporean boy. A story that we feel we have to cover and increase social awareness for children who are highly sensitive nature. Okay, so let's kick things off. Welcome back to the Shanghai Masters tennis match between Banneriti and Manarino. Except today we have a fan who is a bit overly loud until the Empire had to call the security personnel to evict her out. Except this female fan right here refused to leave, staying in her seat and even making victory signs to the officials. They are trying to ask her nicely, Miss, Madam, please get up, please leave, you are disturbing the peace of the game, let the players concentrate, you are making too much noise. So she continues to refuse to leave and there is a boy next to her, her son, presumably, he could be heard shouting mum afterwards. We are gonna cover the boy's face because the boy is innocent, but the mother, her behavior is oblivious to everyone, actually really upset with her, disturbing, the spirit of the game. A competitive game. And as she keeps making victory signs to the security guards refusing to budge, she then takes out a red booklet and waves it in the security personnel faces. It is actually a passport. It has been found to be a Swedish passport and she keeps showing this booklet, this passport to the security personnel, probably trying to explain why she shouldn't be evicted because she holds this passport, it seems. As you can see, she used this booklet several times in this whole charade. So as you know, play is being stopped for this. So everyone in the stadium is actually waiting for her to be evicted before play can resume. Anyway, so she refused to leave and as you can see, more and more security personnel are arriving and telling her and trying to get her to budge. And when they tried to, make her move, by slightly lifting her, she started screaming for literally at the top of her lungs, help, 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 looking left and right for help, for support. But she wasn't aware that the audience members are actually getting very annoyed with her behavior until they start booing her and until they start cheering on the security personnel. Finally though, even though you can see the little boy at one point trying to protect his mother, very endearing, see how he's hugging her, trying to protect his mother, the security personnel carry the little boy out of the stadium while the mother, this lady here, was given a honorary Superman retreat. So she was lifted out Superman or Supergirl style out of the stadium, as you can see here. Welcome to the Shanghai Masters tennis match. Pickleball, the best alternative to tennis, or some may call it tennis 2.0. Well, okay, never mind. Anyway, pickleball is all the rage in Singapore right now, and we have some news where there is this Ignite Academy that operates 3 tennis courts at 356 Tanglin Road, and by late 2024, they converted the 3 tennis courts into 8 pickleball courts. Think about it, that makes good business sense, right? You have 3 tennis courts and not sure how many of them, but in total you're converted into 8 pickleball courts. That just makes good business sense. And pickleball is booming, except the problem is they are the subtenants. They have a tenancy agreement with their master tenant that included both tennis and pickleball, but The master tenancy agreement with SLA only listed tennis as allowable use. So on September 21st, 2025, I know this story is a little old, but this is Pickleball news and we want to know Pickleball news, right? So on September 21st, 2025, SLA, Singapore Land Authority, issued a directive requiring Ignite Academy to stop all pickleball activities. So they cited two reasons which I'm a bit perplexed. Number one, pickleball was not approved for use under the site's tenancy agreement. That I totally understand and agree. Now number two, the noise of pickleball affects nearby residents. This part I don't get. So does that mean when they are using it as the 3 tennis courts, the noise doesn't affect residents, but when it's converted to the 8 pickleball courts, the noise affects residents? Is pickleball really so much more noisier than tennis? Because we have seen all the stories about pickleball noise affecting residents nearby everywhere, right? Not just in Singapore, by the way. But I mean, think about it. You would expect the noise of pickleball and tennis to be roughly the same, or tennis to be even louder, right? Because you could see people like really smashing hard on a tennis ball, right? So just this reason makes me thinking maybe pickleball is really tennis 2.0 with only one flaw, a noisy ball. This 2-year-old boy in Nanning, China had such severe throat burns from a hot soup that he had to be sent to the ICU. This happened on September 21st, 2025. So basically what happened was his parents prepared a bowl of hot soup and placed it on the table. Then we have zero context if the parents actually asked the boy to drink the soup, but all we know is the boy, the 2-year-old boy, Xiao Bao, used a straw to drink the soup, and I think he couldn't control how much he wanted to sip or drink, and that caused him to scald himself at the lips, the mouth, the throat, and it was really severe burn injuries. He cried loudly in pain, and the family rushed him at night 10 p.m. quickly to the Nanning Maternal and Child Health Hospital. He was diagnosed with burns to the throat and oral cavity, airway obstruction and breathing difficulties. Doctors monitored him overnight. The next day, his condition worsened so much that the 2-year-old boy developed respiratory failure, infectious laryngitis, and aspiration pneumonia, leaving him in a critical condition. So he was sent to the ICU. At the ICU, doctors have to do emergency procedure because Xiao Bao's epiglottis has swollen. I'm not sure what's epiglottis, I'm guessing somewhere in the throat here. Epiglottis has swollen to the size of a small ping pong ball, nearly blocking his airway, besides for a narrow airway passage at the edge of his throat. And that allowed doctors to attempt life-saving measures. They inserted a 3.5 mm endotracheal tube so that they could successfully intubate Xiao Bao, letting him breathe. Okay, so at least he can breathe. And then by the afternoon, his condition has stabilized. Thankfully, his condition is under control now, though he is still suffering from severe throat burns from hot soup. As of now, he still remains in the ICU for further treatment and monitoring. Experts have warned that very hot food or drinks can damage the digestive tract, and beverages over 60 degrees can actually raise cancer risk. Once again, parents, you're advised to always check food temperatures, keep hot dishes out of children's reach, and if you want to let them drink something warm, make sure it's sufficiently cooled down. Please don't use a straw, use a small spoon. The child, 2 years old, will not be able to control the strength of how much liquid they're drinking even using a small straw. Even if you tell them drink slowly and they understand you, they might not be able to control the strength of how much they sip. So take care, everyone. Ex-Singapore Armed Forces Captain Rong Xuan admitted to breaking into a man's condominium in 2022, stealing information from his cryptocurrency wallet, basically his seed phrase, and misappropriating 1.7 million USDT, roughly 2.2 million Singapore dollars, which he later used for luxury items, gamba, and mortgage payments. He has pleaded guilty and will be sentenced in November 2025. Some background context: Rong Xuan, 34, was a captain with SAF Naval Diving Unit at the time of offences. He later left the SAF in 2023, which SAF claims they discharged him. So Teo met the victim, a 30-year-old Chinese national, through a mutual friend identified as Z. So the victim owned a cold wallet. This point, some of our viewers might have difficulties understanding, but a cold wallet is basically a cryptocurrency wallet that is not hot. And this wallet has a seed phrase. It's a group of words, English words, sometimes more, sometimes less. In this case, 24 English words. Teo managed to obtain and using it to misappropriate the victim's funds. So what happened was, on December 14, 2022, the victim deposited 1.7 million USDT into his cold wallet, the non-hot wallet. And then on December 18, 2022, the victim invited Teo and Z, remember Z, the friend that introduced Teo to the victim, to the victim's home to watch a football match. Teo arrived first, and then Z arriving later. Teo asked the victims for his home access card, which the victim agreed, and Teo used the card to bring Z up. Teo didn't return the card to the victim. Now it is December 31st, New Year's Eve, and the three of them planned to meet. And Teo had knowledge that the victim already left his home. So Teo now, before meeting up with the victim and Z, actually went to the victim's home, managed to find where the victim kept his seed phrase on a piece of paper. This collective group of like 24 words that is his seed phrase. Teo snapped a picture of it and then left the victim's home, went to join the victim and Z and celebrate New Year's Eve. The next day on New Year, January 1st, 2023, Teo then connected his own wallet to his desktop computer and actually transferred 1.7 million USDT into his own cryptocurrency wallet. These stolen proceeds were used in multiple ways, including 100,000 USDT to an illegal Gamba website, and then another 500 USDT for cryptocurrency transactions, but then also mostly involving another illegal Gamba website, Gamba, okay? And then he also converted around 1.1 million USDT into US dollars and then transferred it into his bank account. So everything happened on January 1st, 2023. It was only much later, at March 23rd, 2023, the victim realized his monies in his cold wallet is gone. He then alerted the authorities and engaged blockchain security experts to trace his missing USDT. And some of it were traced to Teo's cryptocurrency wallet. The victim then confronted Teo, who actually admitted to misappropriating his funds. Now on October 1st, 2025, Teo, who did not make any restitution to the victim, pleaded guilty in court to 1 count of housebreaking, 1 count of misusing a computer system, multiple counts of dealing with ill-gotten gains. And once again, the MINDEF, Ministry of Defense, confirmed that Teo was discharged from the SAF, something we've mentioned earlier on. Now, Teo is currently awaiting sentencing scheduled for November 2025. We'll keep you updated when we know more. No ideas yet if the victim is able to get any restitutions or compensation back from Teo. Goh Yong is generally a quiet and happy boy. His parents said there were no signs of depression. However, children who are highly sensitive, sometimes their triggers are well beyond our awareness level. This is a story that has been highly requested by our viewers and something that we also feel we should cover to help increase social awareness. The day was July 29, 2024. Goh Yong, 11 years old, went to school in a happy mood because he was looking forward to getting a new aquatic snail in the evening after school. However, during school hours, he was taken out of class and brought to the conference room by 2 teachers, where they questioned him about taking a classmate's belongings the previous week. And as confirmed by MOE, Goh did admitted to taking the items. Teachers then asked him to locate the missing items, which he apparently had hidden in the school's garden. While doing this, he became overwhelmed and cried for the first time that day. The teachers then asked him to write a statement about what he has done, and his school bag was also searched, which made him upset. He then cried for the second time that day in school. Afterwards, he had to complete a practice paper and proceeded to attend another class as part of the normal school schedule. After the final lesson of the day, Goh Yong was asked to apologize to his classmate outside the classroom. He broke down and cried for the third time that day in school. Teachers later said that Goh Yong appeared to calm down and look okay after each time after crying. On that same day, teachers were also attempting to contact Yong Le's parents by phone, presumably to talk about Yong Le being disciplined that day. Since the parents couldn't be reached, a message was sent instead, and the mother replied and set a call for 4 p.m. as the father works night shift. At this point, both parents were not aware of the disciplinary actions that has been taken in school. However, around 2:30 p.m. before the scheduled 4 p.m. call, the school contacted Yong Le's father, telling Yong Le has been found at the void deck. After which, the hospital called, telling the parents that they are trying to save Yong Le's life. So what happened was, shortly after the school day ended, Yong Le chose to take his own life. The school informed his parents that he was found at the void deck, and the hospital was trying to save him. By the time Yong Le's father arrived at the hospital, medical staff had already stopped resuscitation and the tube was disconnected, and Yong Le has passed on. Yong Le was a second child in a family of 5 children. Yong Le's family claimed that Yong Le did not show any signs of depression. Yong Le loved his 40 pet snails, being able to name each one and even being able to differentiate each one of them. He did very well in maths and science, often being the top of his class, but sometimes falling asleep in class if the pace of the lessons was too slow. He was described as very chill but emotionally sensitive, also known as a child who is highly sensitive. Once, he cried for hours for when one of his pet snails died. He usually stayed calm when scolded, even by teachers, or even when a classmate pushed him down the stairs. As his father said, he was okay about it. His parents described him as an old man in a young boy's body, preferring quiet activities like drawing, video games, solitary walks, and reading library books on physics, microbiology, and philosophy. He just wanted a simple life, like him being quoted as saying, a job at McDonald's, food to eat, and a bed to sleep in. His father said that Yong Le had ways to cope with emotions, usually by resting in his bedroom, but however, on that day in school, he didn't have that safe bedroom and blanket to crawl under. The family stressed they do not blame the school or teachers, but hope for greater empathy and mental health care in disciplinary processes, especially for children who are highly sensitive. The Ministry of Education have extended their condolences to the family, stating that the school fact-finding process was comprehensive with CCTV review, and confirmed the student, Goh Yong admitted to taking the item. The school now holds accountability sessions or fact-finding sessions, as they say, in non-intimidating spaces for students. Goh Yong was gone too soon. As his parents said, he was generally a happy youth, no signs of depression, but on the one day where he cried 3 times, he couldn't cope with it and made a wrong decision. One point of note is he has always been a sensitive child since young, a highly sensitive child. And parents, guardians out there, take note of your young ones, your loved ones. Let them know there's always a way to deal with any problems at hand. Let them know, never be afraid to tell you anything, any matters that they are facing. Don't let anything be the trigger of themselves making a bad decision. Our thoughts, condolences and prayers to Goh Yong and his family and his loved ones.